Prior to leaving the spacecraft for the second time, an updated plan was formulated between the crew, geologists on Earth, and mission control. It included returning to the experiment site and to 4 local craters on the way to the Surveyor 3 spacecraft. The second departure from the lunar module was begun 1 hour and 40 minutes ahead of schedule.
Roger, copy, Pete.
Before they began their geological expedition to the surrounding craters and to Surveyor, they worked around the lunar module, getting ready the tools and containers they would need.
We're putting the parts bag on Pete right now, Houston.
Roger, we copy that.
I wonder what happened since yesterday.
I don't know, I think everybody learns a little bit.
The astronauts cut the cable to the ill-fated color television camera and stowed the camera to return it to Earth for investigation.
As Bean readied the equipment, Conrad went out to the ALSEP station to check an instrument about which the Earth-based scientists had shown some concern.
I'll lope off to the ALSEP and check the side. I'll meet you at point 1 at head crater. Houston, Pete's on his way to the ALSEP.
After Conrad checked the ALSEP experiments, they began the geological traverse, during which they would cover about a mile and take samples from 6 craters.
You're going to get a big surprise when you look into this head crater, Al. It's a heck of a lot deeper than it looked, eh?
This picture was taken at Sharp Crater, which was the furthest point on our traverse away from the LEM. And if I remember correctly, I think it was at Sharp Crater. At this point, we could not see the LEM any longer. There were, I think, 2 places, Al?
Yeah.
There were 2 places where the terrain was such that we got completely out of sight of home base. And really, you have the sun direction, and it's fairly easy to navigate up there. It wasn't until 3 weeks before the flight that we decided to take a map along and have the geologists plan the traverses in advance, which turned out to be extremely helpful. And then we decided to take the map with us outside, and that's probably the smartest maneuver we ever did, because we were able to use it. And when we started out for Sharp Crater, as you look over the background there, you'll see that surprisingly enough, we're in an area that's very devoid of craters. And we suddenly got out in this flat spot that was sloping downhill away from the LEM, and you couldn't see any more craters. They were very difficult to find. There weren't very many out there. The photograph here is illustrating the use of our favorite tool. Al is driving a core tube, and this is if I remember right, Al, it's a double core tube,
yeah,
right?
Looks like the place we
And they wanted that driven in the side of the crater in the ejecta blanket, and that's what we're doing there, and we drove that down 32 inches.
Okay, Houston, I'm coming up on Bench Crater right now. Boy, there's some big fragments out here. Pictures. What a fantastic sight. Al, look at the bottom of that crater. Here's some good rock samples right here. Come on.
Why don't we stop here and look at the chart a little bit more closely?
Put that one into, you can begin to look around the knees and up along the arms and begin to see where you're getting pretty dirty. See the cuff checklist on the left arm, which was very handy.
Here's a picture that Pete took of me. We've got the environmental sample there, and I held it out, and he used the shovel to put the dirt. We had to fill it up with dirt, and you can see it's near the top there. And we put the lid on, and it comes back in the rock box, but then when they open the rock box, it has its own little environment in there, and it doesn't get exposed to anything there, and they're able to take a look at the gases and the dirt and what have you.
Man, does that LEM look small back there?
Pete, now we show you're 1,200 feet from the LEM.
Okay. You know what I feel like, Al? You ever see those pictures of giraffes running in slow motion? That's exactly what I feel like. Got the decided feeling I'm going to sleep tonight.
The highlight of the second tour on the lunar surface for the astronauts was the arrival at the Surveyor 3 site. The spacecraft rested in a 600-foot diameter crater some 50 feet deep, undisturbed in its lonely environment since April 1967.
And there was our third objective, was Surveyor. And we're starting down from the south side of the crater. We just eased down around the side of it and down till we got to Surveyor, and you can see Intrepid in the background there. And you can also see now that the crater is completely devoid of shadow. We're on our second EVA, and the sun angle is up 19 degrees or so, and it's got everything illuminated.
Yeah, we're just going to move to the area. Now look, you can see which way it came in. See the way this gear pad's dug in over there? Dug up dirt, and you're still sitting there. Okay, Houston, I'm jiggling it. The Surveyor is firmly planted here. That's no problem.
The astronauts obtained extensive photography of the Surveyor. Selected parts of the spacecraft were removed by the astronauts, including part of the power cable, a length of aluminum tube, and the small scoop.
Now they let me cut this scoop off. Sure. Didn't think you were going to leave without a scoop, did you?
Finally, the 17-pound Surveyor television camera was removed.
Okay, Al, we're ready to start getting a TV camera. Okay. All right, you see that material disintegrate. Hey, that cuts easy. Okay, 2 more tubes on that TV camera, and that baby's ours. Done. There you go. In the bag. Yeah, I gotta zip it up. Good show.
Studies on Earth of these articles will reveal the effects of the lunar environment on the man-made materials used in building the spacecraft and its television camera. On the return trip to the lunar module, the astronauts continued to collect carefully documented rock samples.
They were back at the lunar module, collecting the solar wind experiment, stowing the rock boxes.
It's really ridiculous. I got dust all over the rock box, and I'm trying to blow it off.
Bean re-entered the lunar module first. Conrad, using a transfer apparatus similar to a clothesline reel, sent the samples up to him. Then, Conrad, too, left the lunar surface.
Okay. Houston, guess you can mark me off the lunar surface.
Roger, we got that, Pete, at 3 hours and 50 minutes into the EVA.
Yeah, yep, the ladder I go. I hope.
The astronauts spent 4 hours and 10 minutes outside the spacecraft during their second work period. Inside Intrepid's cabin, Conrad and Bean removed their portable life support systems. These were then jettisoned, along with other expendable items, and left behind on the lunar surface.
There's our 1-knot flag. You'll notice a close proximity of the RCS quad there to the S-band antenna on the RCS hot fire prior to ascent. We blew over the S-band antenna, and it was at its maximum distance, so if you want to watch liftoff from a remote camera, we're going to have to move that antenna further away because I don't think it'll stay up.
8, 7,
A near-perfect liftoff took place on schedule.
3, 2, 1, lift off. And away we go. Boy, did it fire. Join. Good. Looks good. Alphabet looks good. Intrepid Houston, copy ignition, guidance looks good. Over's looking good. 1 minute, yaw right 20 feet. Okay. Good jump. Everything looks good. Pressure sure does. Okay, keeping right down the pipe. Okay. What a nice, pressures look good, Pete. What a nice glide. Everything looks good, Pete. Pressures look good. Sure does. Looks like the same territory we passed over before, doesn't it? Man, look at that crater we're flying over. Okay.
Well, you sure look strange down there amongst all the sand dunes.
Sorry about that.
3 hours after liftoff, Rendezvous took place as planned, 69 miles above the lunar surface. The two spacecraft moved together slowly as the pilots aligned their craft for docking.
At half a mile, 19 feet a second. We're looking better all the time, Yankee. Okay, I'm down to 3 feet a second.
You can see the thruster firing if you watch the quads there.
I think motion that spacecraft have in flight are rather unique. That this almost looks like animation when he'll pitch over and then he'll do a yaw maneuver so that the target on the limb is essentially lined up with the command module, with Yankee Clipper. You watch it when it stops, it almost looks like it's an animation and it's being held there on a string.
Look at the umbilical coverage. You suppose that's what got hit by lightning or something with on with its ground? Look at the top of its burned. Oh, I do believe that's what got hit. No, maybe it gets burned by other. We gotta find out. That would be stupid.
Intrepid now station keeping with the Yankee Clipper.
That way it looks in space, too. It's sort of weird to see the two vehicles up there completely motionless relative to each other, hanging above the moon. It's not at all like flying formation with an airplane, where there's slight motion all the time between the two.
There's these pitch maneuver, S-band
Watch this thing
antennas.
stop in a minute, and that's just how it looks up there. Looks like some big hand grabs it and makes it move and stop it. Fantastic.
Now he'll do the yaw maneuver of 120 degrees to essentially line up the target. Watch it stop. That's it. The rest of this sequence is the docking itself. Pete's holding that inertial attitude and flying Yankee Clipper, lining up on the COAS. Once again, a very easy, very gentle docking with no particular problems at all.
Looking right up, see Albion in there?
And I got a couple more passengers to the ride home right there.
After, okay, go free. Free. Very good. Nice. Go ahead, hop. I'm supposed to be when I was free. That's fair. You're looking good. Okay, passengers. After. Okay.
You can see the retract cycle for a hard dock. There it is.
Steady as a rock. And you're all free, boy.
The two lunar explorers then returned to the command module with approximately 100 pounds of lunar samples and Surveyor parts.
The next step, jettison the lunar module, then send it crashing into the moon to help calibrate the seismometer left on the surface. This instrument was designed to measure the intensity of meteor impacts, moonquakes, landslides, and similar phenomena.
Guidance and control officer reports that the two spacecraft have separated.
This is our last good look at Intrepid before it performed one more function for us before we left it there, and that, of course, was the impact on the lunar surface.
It really broke Al's heart. He said that was like throwing away your brand new Cadillac, and I sort of felt the same way. Intrepid, it just we didn't have an anomaly that I can think of other than one little gauge went out, which was nothing.
Its engine reignited by ground command for a deorbit maneuver designed to deliberately impact the stage on the moon.
Apollo 12, Houston, the LEM is on its way down.
Roger, watch.
The men on Earth monitored the output of the seismometer, waiting for impact.
Countdown for LEM impact. 3, 2, 1, mark. LEM impact.
Impact occurred about 40 miles south of the Apollo 12 landing area.
As for the meaning of it, I'd rather not make an interpretation right now, but it is as though one had struck a bell, say, in the belfry of the church, a single blow, and found that the reverberation from it continued for 30 minutes.
After 55 minutes, the reverberation still had not faded completely.
On the 7th day of the mission, a planned change maneuver was accomplished by firing the main engine to bring Yankee Clipper over 3 possible lunar landing sites for future Apollo missions. These were extensively photographed with both ordinary and infrared film.
This is for Apollo 13, the Apollo 13 landing zone in Fra Mauro.
After orbiting the moon for 93 hours, the command module's main engine was fired on November 21st to begin the 250,000-mile return trip to Earth.
Roger, bye-bye. See you on the other side.
Have fun. Apollo 12, Houston.
Hello, Houston. Apollo 12 en route home.
This is very shortly after the TEI burn, and you really come shooting up out of that lunar orbit. It happened so fast that you almost hardly believe it. Lunar surface as we saw it very shortly after TEI.
I guess one of the big thrills, of course, for Al and I was to sit down next to the Surveyor, especially when we stepped outside and looked around back of the spacecraft. Yeah, I was thrilled. Saw it sitting right there on the other side of the crater. I also gave myself quite a thrill. I think you'll appreciate it when you see the pictures and you see how close we landed to the crater, which I didn't notice at the time because it was behind me. But I didn't want to overfly too far, but I guess I parked it pretty close to the edge of the crater. And we were also very impressed that the tracking and everything put us right down the middle. Everybody at home certainly did their homework there. We didn't have to do anything but land her. And Dick surprised me, I think, by finding us, not only finding us in the sextant, but also finding the Surveyor and the LEM in the sextant. He also took some pictures through his sextant with 16mm camera of that on the next rev, and hopefully we'll have movies of the LEM and the Surveyor on the ground that are discernible in the movies. I don't know whether that'll work or not. We'll have to wait till we see the film.
Very good. We'll be looking for them.
We've enjoyed the trip. Everybody adapted to zero-G real well. We enjoyed whistling in and out of the LEM, and after having flown 8 days in Gemini, it's a real pleasure riding around in this thing, being able to move around and have all the good food, and hot water, and shave, and all those good things we could do. We're kept the ship pretty spick and span, and we do have things all neatly stowed. I don't know if you can show them, Dick. Why don't you show them the Surveyor bag? Oh, okay. Can't see it. Well, with that, I think we'll sign off, and we'll see you in about 3 days.
12, I can read up to you a portion of our news broadcast we were going to bring up to you a little bit later on, which is on that subject. And it was a tentative analysis shows that the Apollo 12 was struck twice by lightning during liftoff. Don Arabian told a press conference gathering in Building 1 that the strike occurred at 36 seconds after liftoff and again at 52 seconds after the Saturn left the pad. According to Arabian, the rocket and the engine plume exhaust acted just like a wire that ran from the clouds to the ground, and then from cloud to cloud. There are photographs available of the strike. The Arabian analysis is called a very interim kind of report.
Hey, that's great. We're sure looking forward to seeing those films. We saw it from inside, but we'd sure like to see it from outside the next time. Dear said it.
How did it look visually from the LEM, looking at the command module, service module interface?
Well, we've been discussing that subject, and I guess you ought to go look at some photographs of CSFs that have had lamps on the nose and make sure that it's not from lamp thrust firing, but that junction box where all the cabling runs from the command module to the service module was black on top like it was burned. And however, I noticed on the top of the quad boxes on the service module some similar type marks. We were discussing it here, and our suspicion was possibly the lightning strikes always go to the small point, and we were suspecting, and I'm sure you have it from the outside pictures, that we probably got struck on the tower and it just went all the way down the stack. I wonder if they're going to revise the weather rules for launch.
I guess they're looking at it. What's been said so far, under identical conditions with an identical spacecraft, you wouldn't do it over again.
These three guys, what? Yeah, you left out one item, the crew. I guess we hold the world's record now as the world's fastest lightning rod.
The world's tallest.
Apollo Control, Houston, that was Pete Conrad saying, I guess we hold the world's record now as the world's fastest lightning rod. Ed Gibson, capsule communicator, rejoined it with, and the world's tallest. We're at 90 hours, 14 minutes into the flight, presently showing an altitude above the Earth of 176,854 nautical miles for Apollo 12, and with a velocity of 3,100 feet per second.
During the 3-day coast to Earth, the first press conference in space was conducted.
Out there on the moon, you sounded happy, even euphoric. Some people think that maybe you were on an oxygen high. Were you? And for both you and Al, how did it feel subjectively to be out there?
No, I was very happy, but I wasn't on an oxygen high. I was very happy because all the work that we had put into that EVA was beginning to pay off. And once we got over the initial stumbling block of the one little problem we had getting the fuel cast going, well, I was quite happy because we were on a timeline. Everything was going the way we thought it was going to go, and I was just having a ball because it was much easier than all the one-sheet practice we've done learning how to do that. Yeah, you're asking about how it feels. I think for about the first 10 minutes that you're out, at least in my case, you find that it's not as hard as you think it's going to be to move around. And you're pretty happy about that, but you could sense that first 10 minutes you still want to be careful and you don't want to overextend yourself. So you're sort of excited trying to get up to speed, get your balance in good shape, and get your movements in good shape so you can start doing the work. And once the first 10 minutes is over and you sort of realize that you now know how to hold your balance and you now aren't going to fall down and everything is working real well, I think right then you start getting down to the operational part of it, and after that you just press on and get the job done, like Pete said. I was in a good humor to start with, seeing we landed next to the Surveyor. That started to take off right.
Were the moon's color, texture, and general appearance as seen from above as you expected them to be?
And is there any place on Earth you know of that looks like the ocean of storms? No, I can't think that there is. It reminds me of desert areas. You might be able to find appearance like that in some deserts, particularly the backside of the moon, which is a lot more beat up in the front side. But as far as the ocean of storms, I guess there really isn't any corollary, any place on Earth that we can recall, at least.
This is Mother Earth, and I think you can see how much of it we weren't able to see. That's really a crescent Earth in this case. The sun is starting to come into the frame actually on the left-hand side, and that is really about all we were able to see of the Earth on the way back.
You can take your monocular and look out towards the black side of the Earth, and you're not able to see a thing there. It's just like deep space, which is very much different, of course, than the moon, which has earthshine on the black. You can look up and usually see where the black part of the moon is.
The crew witnessed a solar eclipse when the Earth blocked out the light of the sun. This was the first time that man had seen such an eclipse.
We're getting a spectacular view of the eclipse. We're using the sun filter from the GNN optics looking through it, and it's unbelievable.
The eclipse as we were coming back, and unfortunately we were unable to capture on film the total circle or the total illumination of the Earth's atmosphere, because it did fully enclose the Earth, and that to us was also one of the fascinating sights on the flight.
The Apollo 12 spacecraft entered the Earth's atmosphere on the afternoon of November 24th.
Al Bean reports deployment of the drogues. Less than 10 seconds away from main chute deployment. Al Bean reports 3 main chutes have deployed.
And we're at 8,000 feet on our way down in great shape.
Houston, give us your lat long, please.
F-3 read your lat and clear, we're okay.
Roger, Apollo 12. Send your contact report, please.
You say again, over. This is recovery. Telly ho, I have a visual.
The descent of the spacecraft was easily visible from the recovery ship.
This is recovery. I am 3 miles north on the 300 radio, 3 miles. I have a visual. He is bearing 135 from me, 6,000. I have pretty good shooting. He looks good. Cut.
Apollo 12, this is Airbus, transmitting in the blind. Your primary transmitter is inoperative. Switch to secondary 259.7. And kill your Homer. We have a visual on you. This is recovery. I've lost visual contact. He's in the clouds and I'm hardwing down. Kelly.
What appeared to be smoke from the spacecraft was the dumping of propellants.
This is recovery passing through 3,500. Range 4 miles on the command module. 3 shoots. Looks good. Going into another cloud. How do you read there, boss? Roger, the same. Well, okay. Roger, step. We're good.
The spacecraft and crew splashed down in the Pacific Ocean within 3½ miles of the aircraft carrier, the USS Hornet.
Splashdown. Splash. Alert. Free shoot.
We record splash at ground elapsed time of 244 hours, 36 minutes, 24 seconds.
Photo, I don't see you. I'm coming all the way down. Hornet, this is recovery. Overhead.
Apollo 12 landed stable 2. The inflation bags will upright them.
I guess everybody gets excited about stable 2. That's not a bad position to be in, but it's rather straightforward how you get there. You don't get the chutes off in time. And Dick, of course, was in the left seat, and I was in the middle, and Al was in the right. And if you notice those pictures, you'll see the bottom of the spacecraft is rather flat in several places because we had exactly the right combination of wind and sea so that we had one whale of a impact on landing. And the 16mm movie camera flew off and hit Al right in the head. It stunned him for about 5 seconds, which was just long enough for the wind to pull us over into stable 2. And Dick, of course, being over in the left, couldn't see the camera hit Al. And he was over there hollering, "Push in the circuit breakers, we're going over in stable 2. And Al was completely out to lunch. He was over there, and he finally finally came to in about 5 seconds, and he ducked the camera very slowly, which had already gone by 5 seconds earlier, and reached in, pushed in the circuit breakers, and he says, "What the heck are you in such a hurry for? I got him as fast as I could." So I guess maybe that was the only anomaly we had on that part of the flight.
I thought he was behaving like a rookie, but I'll guarantee one thing. Captain Bean is no longer a rookie.
The spacecraft landed in an apex down position and quickly righted itself.
All 3 astronauts now on the raft.
Approximately 1 hour later, the crew was transported by helicopter to the aircraft carrier.
All operations normal at this time. Discovery is maneuvering to put the rescue net in the raft. Rescue net is in the raft. First astronaut is on his way up. Good vertical pickup. No oscillation. First astronaut is halfway up. Unit is approximately 3/4 up. And the rescue net is at the cargo hatch. Astronaut is safely aboard.
This is recovery. The first astronaut aboard is Commander Gordon. Condition is good.
We repeat that last report. The first astronaut aboard is Commander Gordon. Condition good.
Standing by for pickup number 2. Number 2. The rescue net is halfway down. Recovery is maneuvering for his second pickup. Safety swimmers are still in the water. Operations normal. Rescue net is in the raft. So is given, the second astronaut is on his way up. A little oscillation. Second astronaut is halfway up. The second astronaut is at the cargo hatch, entering fixer.
Recovery. Second astronaut aboard, Commander Bean. Condition good.
We repeat that last report. The second astronaut aboard, Commander Alan Bean.
In preparation for the third pickup. Observe recovery, commencing his run. All operations normal this time. The rescue net is 2/3 down. Recovery is maneuvering to place the net in the raft. Net is in hand, is being lowered into the raft. Third astronaut is on his way up. Third astronaut is halfway up. Astronaut 2/3 up. Third astronaut is at the cargo hatch, being taken aboard the helicopter.
This is recovery. All 3 astronauts are aboard. Condition is outstanding to above average.
Hornet, roger.
Recovery, this is Tower. Confirm that your main crew hatch is closed.
They'll be closed when left.
Have a Charlie spot 5 and photo. You have a Charlie on spot 9 for a relaunch. It's a down the bow at 18 knots.
Hornet Twin 2 commencing run to drop Longberg. And Twin 2 observed main chute in small boat this time. Right.
That's John Stonecipher, Jerome Hammock of the NASA recovery team. The band is playing the Naval Academy version of Anchors Away, and we can see an astronaut waving out the window of the aircraft.
Aboard the Hornet, the astronauts went directly into the isolation van in which they were transported to the Lunar Receiving Laboratory in Houston.
Now you see the plastic entryway, which is rigged up just outside the mobile quarantine facility. This has nothing to do, actually, with the arrival of the astronauts. This is an anticipation of the arrival of the spacecraft, which will be hooked up to it, here again, to preserve the quarantine integrity. Helicopter 66 being rolled into position. In a moment, the astronauts will be out and on deck. Some NASA people will move over a small wooden step. And here you see that step now being moved into place by John Stonecipher on the right, Fred Swanholz on the left of the NASA recovery team. The three astronauts now coming forward, and with their respirators on, I'll be darned if I can tell which is who. The three astronauts now walking briefly across the holodeck and into the facility.
The crew will remain in isolation for up to 21 days following the lunar surface activities. On board the Hornet to welcome the Apollo 12 crew was the head of the manned spaceflight program, Dr. George E. Miller. Dr. Miller was last aboard a recovery ship for the final Gemini flight. This was to be his last official Apollo flight prior to leaving the space agency.
Well, you don't know how good that sun feels. That's 28 days, I think, isn't it, that we haven't had any sun? Want to say it's really great to get out. It's great to be back. The LRL really was quite pleasant. Gave us the opportunity to get most of our debriefing and pilot report done. And I think we had an added benefit there when we had the geologists join us. We learned a lot from that for our next trip. And it's just real fine to be back and out. And I want to stand out in the sunshine and thank everybody that had anything to do with Apollo 12. They sure did their job well.
Apollo 12 proved that man could land where he desires with pinpoint accuracy. The Apollo 12 astronauts demonstrated the ability to explore the moon's surface far from their spacecraft, to collect a large variety of rock and soil samples, and parts from an earlier unmanned lunar spacecraft, Surveyor 3. The materials brought back will provide additional information concerning the origin of the moon and the effects of the lunar environment on Earth materials. The nuclear-powered laboratory set up by the Apollo 12 crew on the moon is constantly relaying scientific and engineering data to Earth.
The lunar ionosphere alias side has been turned on, and I'm very happy to say is functioning perfectly.
The solar wind spectrometer has been functioning, of course, since the also has been turned on.
The seismic experiment, as has been reported, is functioning in all respects properly.
I think it will represent a major discovery completely unanticipated about the moon.
We're going to have to throw the book away and begin over again, which seems to be the case for the moon in general.